All right, first item is obsolete items for review. And we've got items in the technology department from the high school, from Grass, and from Siler. Any members of the board have any questions about those lots? Mrs. Miller does.
No, I'm sorry, I was asking Dr. Ward a question. I do not.
Microphone,
Mr. Linden, I do not have a question.
I heard you.
Okay, well, these are the standard items that we've been seeing, so they'll be appearing on the 23rd agenda. The second item is review of the truck trailer. Is Mr. Loeffler going to do that? Who's going to do that?
Yes,
That
Mr.
goes,
Jasper.
okay. So, after you.
Okay. Back in September, I met with Mr. Benson, Mrs. Yardley was there also. We wanted to watch and observe and maybe help load the van truck. So what we saw was really 3 or 4 parents that seemed to be extremely involved with the loading of the truck. And after we got about 3/4 full, I kind of realized that the truck itself's not large enough for their needs. So since then, in October, I again met with Mr. Benson and a few of the parents group, and they came up with 3 options. So option 1 was the 28-foot trailer with the 2500 GMC pickup truck. That's what we went out to bid for last year. That's what they requested originally. Option 2 would be a 30-foot gooseneck trailer with a larger pickup to pull. In that gooseneck trailer, they could fit the golf cart in. Now what I saw is with the gooseneck, you could probably handle all of their equipment, but there's also quite a change in pricing in that. And then the third option, and there is a spreadsheet that goes with this also. The third option would be, I'm going to switch down to the spreadsheet. The third option would be a 3500 cutaway truck with a trailer package. That way, they could use the original van truck to fill, and with the 35 cutaway truck, they could put the extra equipment in there, and also with that truck, they could pull the golf cart with it. So I'm going to go back to the spreadsheet. The 28-foot trailer with the 2500 GMC pickup truck, originally what they asked for was a $50,000 bid back then. We would have to rebid this. If you're looking at this spreadsheet, you can see that there would be 5, 6, 7 drivers involved. 5 would be for the bus, 1 for the district-owned van truck, and 1 for the GMC truck. So there's also a transportation cost there of about $713. So total cost would be $50,713. The pickup truck could be used for maintenance if, in fact, I would lose a plow or 2. Then we possibly would use it, or we would use it if we lost 2. If we lost 1 truck, we may not. And then availability. The trailer would have to be rebid because we're past the current bidding. And the truck could be a CoStar's purchase, which would be a lot quicker. The gooseneck was $23,900. The truck to go with it, the bullet would be $48,000. You would eliminate 1 driver with that, and it would bring the transportation cost down to $611. But the total cost of that would be $73,000. Again, the gooseneck trailer would have to go out to bid, and the truck itself would be a CoStar's purchase, be a little quicker. Again, that truck we could use for emergency snow plowing if in fact I lost a vehicle or 2. And then the third option is a 3500 cutaway truck with a trailer package. This truck is much lower to the ground. It would take away some of the safety features that they were talking about, where it's only about shin height. And it'd be easier to put equipment in and out without a lift gate involved. The cost of that would be estimated about $36,000. So they would still use the band truck we have now, fill it. The 3500 cutaway would take the excess, and with a trailer package on it, they could pull the cart with that, the golf cart. Now this box truck could be used more for maintenance technology for the district, a little more maybe usage than the pickup trucks with the plow. Technology could use it for moving their computers around. Maintenance could use it for our summer moves as we move a lot of equipment in and out of buildings. So again, I appreciate the work, dedication that parents were involved. There's been parents that have been involved for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years that are doing this, and it's a lot of work, and it's not easy. But with a tight budget that we're looking at, I guess my recommendation would really be number 3. For about $36,000, we take care of all their needs, we take care of the golf cart, and looks like we'd save about $14,000. All costs are estimated.
So the administration's recommendation is option 3.
Yes.
Jeff, what's in those transportation costs? What is that?
Well, we based it on the salaries of the bus drivers. There's 5 or 6 bus drivers that take the van.
But is that for a year or for?
No, that's per event. It's a 5-hour.
Oh, each event?
One event, correct. That's per event.
Okay.
And it's based on a 5-hour trip. Trips could be longer, trips could be shorter, with an average number.
Okay, so that really, I mean, adding that to the cost of
It's
the,
insignificant.
okay.
Right.
How many events per year would they need all of it? This would just be for the marching band, would need all of these, would need the 6 or 7 drivers, right?
Correct. A lot of their events are different sizes, different shapes. How many people they take, they're all different. So I don't know
You know.
how many events they'd be taking up those trucks. A fair amount, I believe.
And the truck's always driven by a district employee? Even now, the truck is there now, it's always driven by a district employee?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question. I just like clarification. So are you talking the box truck is what they already have, and then the trailer, this cutaway trailer would be attached to it?
No, there's the box truck we already have.
Yeah, that's what
We
I'm
would
saying.
keep that, and they would
Yes.
use that. The cutaway truck is a smaller version of the box truck. It's more like a bread truck, we would call it.
Oh, so it's different then? Okay.
It's smaller. It's lower to the
Okay, that's what I'm
ground.
asking, I'm listening.
The bumper's much lower to the ground, so you don't have that lift gate issue. You could step right into it with one step. There's a ramp to pull out if you would want that. If you don't want that, you just keep it in and move the equipment in that way.
So then you're saying keep a box truck for these other
Correct.
uses? Okay.
Did Mr. Benson, did Mr. what's Mr. Benson's feelings on this? I know that, I'm sorry.
I know you're recommending the option that's 14,000 in savings.
I believe Mr. Benson would prefer option 1, their original request. What I found, the problem with that is, number 1, the trailer is slightly bigger than the box truck. So what they wanted to do is they wanted the trailer and put the golf cart inside the trailer. Now, the trailer's not that much bigger than the box truck already, so when you put the golf cart in the trailer, you've just taken that extra room up. So in my eyes, there would not be enough room to put everything, including the golf cart, in the trailer, the 28-foot trailer. Now, the 30-foot gooseneck, yes, I think they could get everything in there, including the golf cart. So if it's, they're still going to take 2 trucks on this, is the point, if they get the trailer, on certain occasions.
The 28-foot trailer, you mean?
The 28-foot
Because we
trailer.
determined, and as you said it here previously, that combination there is not big enough.
Not for all of their equipment, right?
And the
Cart,
cart.
correct.
there a danger to towing the golf cart as opposed to putting it inside of a truck?
Not that I'm aware of.
And that's what's been done in the past, right, the golf cart's towed
Well, it was towed by
a parent?
a parent in a mechanical type truck, and then it was towed by my mechanics trucks. This would be a little bigger, but there's no issue with it.
Okay.
Anybody else have any comments or thoughts about it? It looks like we, oh,
I have
goodness.
one question. On option number 3, this truck here, in using combination with the box truck, do we max out our space with both of these trucks? Like, you know, I know in the past there was discussion about, which is possible, we don't know for certain, growth of the band. Does it allow for extra room if that situation occurs?
It should allow for a lot of room for a long period of time. When they built the truck we have now, there was equipment left over. I believe there was loose, smaller equipment that we put on the bus. So to make loading a little easier, they could take that out of the bus, put it in the cutaway truck, along with some of the other equipment, and not pack the existing truck so hard.
I have one more question, just to understand, what are they calling the trailer package in your recommendation? What's the
It's just
trailer?
kind of a trailer hitch level.
That's not a trailer.
It's a trailer hitch,
Right.
right?
So, and I was sort of fooling around with this thing a little bit,
Yeah.
sorry.
That was
Can
just-
they put a trailer if they want, they can pull it, obviously, if you're getting the package,
Yeah.
so they could add a trailer to it.
They already have a trailer. There's already a trailer.
But if they wanted to change out to their
Yes.
own, it's not like a limitation.
No, you can put
The
a
one they
trailer.
have now versus what they could get.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, David. It's Peter Yarnell. Are you
We're
prepared to
just getting
participate in
Mr.
this
Johnson
meeting?
on the phone.
Yes, I am. I've been waiting for a call.
Okay, well, we are a little late.
Okay, that's good. I'm ready.
We are in item 2 on the facilities meeting, which is the review of the truck and trailer options.
I'm there. Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Dave?
Yes, I can.
So what you may have missed was the administration's pick or recommendation was for option 3.
Obviously the case, since it's so much cheaper.
And some of the questions that were asked were Mr. Benson's feelings on it, and really not a lot of you didn't really miss a lot of discussion on this. So unless you have anything to add, we kind of have gone through that part.
Okay, did you say there was not a lot of discussion, or there was?
There were a few questions, you know, can a trailer be added? Can they pull another trailer? Can they pull their existing trailer? Questions about the golf cart being inside the trailer versus towed. And Mrs. Miller asked how the band director felt about what his preference was, I think was
Well,
the
how about
paraphrase.
on option 3?
He was okay with option 3 was the answer I thought we heard.
I think Jeff said that he preferred option 1.
Correct.
Oh, okay, my bad on that then.
I mean, they really prefer option 2.
Well, yeah, for $72,000, that's, wow.
And, you
But
know,
but option 3 is acceptable?
We don't know that. Right?
Turn your mic on.
when I met with Mr. Benson, he's the one that came to me with the 3 options. Now, I gave them option 3 way back, so I'm assuming that they're okay with option 3. The preference would be option 1.
Okay, and the preference, what's better about option 1 over option 3? there's no safety consideration in this. This is just ease of use, or what is the preference for option one?
Much easier to use. Again, watching the parents load, this would be much easier for them to load. There's, I believe, a canopy that was part of option two that they could put out for if it rains. You know, if it rains and they're trying to get in and out of the building, they're doing it in the rain. Option two would relieve that problem a little bit. They could get the equipment in too probably quicker than option one. So those are some of the benefits of option two.
Okay, I was really asking for option one over, I mean, option two obviously being more expensive. What is the benefit of option one over option three?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I meant option one. So those are the benefits of option one. Same thing, option one would have a canopy that they could put on there, and it would be much easier, quicker for them to load. And the equipment,
Okay, I got it.
yeah.
Okay.
Is he done?
Dave, are you done?
Yes, uh-huh.
Okay. The 50,000 was budgeted for, is that correct? Is that still in there?
The 50,000, I think, was, you know, this was sort of a sealed deal at one point, and then the safety concerns arose and we tabled it. So way back when, whenever that, coming up on a year, I guess, by now. So that, yeah, that was the first, I mean, I think we had already approved it in a facilities meeting.
So those funds are still there?
Well, they were in the budget at 50,000, right?
Right, it's Kathy shaking his head. Okay, so that's still a viable option then?
So, anybody else have anything? No.
Yes. Mr. Lufford, you made mention of the safety. If the trailer's going to be close to the ground, and you're saying the bread truck has a pull-out ramp, similar to, I'm assuming, a U-Haul type of moving. So you're walking up a ramp as opposed to stepping up into a trailer. And correct me if I'm wrong, but some of those trucks, you can always put a rollaway canopy, one that rolls off on arms that swing down. So loading in the rain, what are you going to gain? 5 feet with the canopy over top? I don't necessarily know if that's going to be that much of a benefit. $14,000.
Yes, you're correct.
I'm going to put somebody on the spot if they left. Is that all right with you? You're the one that loads the truck, right? Would you like to help us here a little bit? I mean, it looks like we're down to option one or three, and you want to step up and don't take too long because we know you. This is Mr. Perry coming up.
That microphone may not be on.
B. Perry, Hilltown Township. The first thing I heard was the numbers being a little farther out than I remember. I'm the one that personally got the gooseneck quotes, and I apologize, I can't remember where I got them from. But it's been so long ago. I only remember that gooseneck trailer only being like $1,500 to $2,000 more than the original 28-footer. And when I talked to the guys that would supply the gooseneck, I asked them if a 2,500, not dual axle, but a single axle truck, the same one that we were quoted for the 28-foot trailer, would pull this. And he said, absolutely. Especially knowing that the heaviest thing that's going to be in there is the golf cart. Everything else is very light.
Did you say it would pull it?
Correct.
It would.
Correct. So I'm not sure where that 70,000 is coming from, because the way I was looking at it was basing it on the same truck that we'd already spec'd last year. And then the gooseneck was nominal, $1,500, $2,000 more, which surprised me quite a bit. And what the gooseneck gains us, it gains us 6 more feet over the bed of the truck, which we were all going to purchase. So all the smaller instruments will be able to go up on that, we'll call it a loft, which is sort of what we have in the big box trucks that we have now. We can load a lot of small things up there. So the gooseneck gave us a lot more room than the 28-foot, which talking to Mr. Benson and the fathers that load the truck, now, it looked like, it's, you know, it's speculative, but it would give us room to grow. So, I don't know if you have any other questions for me or not. But to Mr. Regama, thank you very much. The 30-foot gooseneck, it's going to have a beaver tail. So there's the ramp's as wide as the trailer, 12 inches off the ground. And the one issue we had as dads last year was trying to load all this expensive instruments in the rain. We had moms with umbrellas holding it as we would wheel it out. So, and we had spec'd a canopy off the trailer. So if it is raining, we'd have like a 16-foot canopy off the side of the trailer that we had like a staging area where if stuff was coming out of a building and it was raining, it would go right underneath a canopy. And then once things got organized in the trailer, as things are coming on, come out from the canopy right onto the trailer.
So you're able to back it up to the school or within 16 feet?
Depends on, I guess it depends on what show you're at. I know the show we were at out west, or Westchester, we were not 16 feet. We were probably 50 feet away from the show, but they're all different. Sometimes we can be a little farther out.
Well, I guess I was asking also for here, when you're loading here, closest proximity, I'm assuming, is the door, the stage door?
Correct,
If
Mr.
you will.
Correct.
So then you still have that walkway into, down the steps?
Correct.
Okay, but you were saying it's 16 feet worth of?
Canopy. I mean, it's mounted to the side of the trailer, but it's a portable canopy where, you know, folks will get there, you just grab the arms and pull it down. Similar to what you see on RV trailers, travel trailers.
Do these prices include that? I don't know if you would know, Mr. Perry, Mr. Loeffler may know.
I don't remember if we included that on the gooseneck. It definitely included it on the 28-foot.
Okay, and one more thing you said, because it's a 2-foot difference between, you know, the first one, option 1, and then the 30-foot gooseneck. But the difference is it that section that extends over the bed of the truck? Is that basically beside the 2 feet of length of the trailer? Is that your biggest difference in them?
The way the gentleman told me, and I don't know if Mr. Loeffler has the quote that I got from Trailers Incorporated Lansdale, but again, I apologize. It's just been so long. I don't have the paperwork. If I knew, I would have had it. But I think the difference between the 28 and the 30 was, I think, the overall 8-foot wide deck by the length. It doesn't actually include the loft. So this 30-foot gooseneck, you're gaining 2 more feet, plus you're getting the loft over the bed of the pickup truck.
The 28-foot doesn't have that loft.
Correct, yes ma'am, correct. So it's almost like a 30-foot trailer plus another 6 feet that's over the bed of the pickup truck.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr.
I have a
Perry.
question.
We're going to save till the end. I wanted to ask Mr. Perry. Just hold off a second. So because you know, what we're trying to do here is get the right thing, but we're also have a recommendation from the district. We want to take the time to make sure. You know, I mean, to me, the big thing that came out of this was, you know, you think the pricing is closer, so we have to bid these things anyway.
Correct.
But we also, as a board, have to sort of follow the recommendation.
Correct.
And I know this truck's been in the wings now for how long? And I don't know, when do you need it by? Can this drag out again? What I was just asking here, not on the microphone, is, you know, how do we find out what the real prices are? Not because you can't get the estimate, we have. So can somebody help me with how we could go about making sure we get the right thing and, you know, still staying within, I don't want to go against the administration's recommendation, but maybe there's some different information instead of just basing it on the price. I don't want to step on your toes with that, because I know you know what vehicles you need. I don't. So
Mr. Loeffler.
that's always been our tug of war with this.
I'd really like to hear from Mr. Benson on this too, because he's going to be the one really using this. Mr.
Yeah.
Casper?
I'm sorry, you finished, Mrs. Miller?
I'm sorry.
Are you finished?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. In that chart that you received from Mr. Loeffler, he also did list in there what you would have to do in order to get the different items. And I believe it would be quicker, Mr. Loeffler, with option 3, because you could go through just co-stars rather than going out to bid, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And I know when I was meeting with them that there is a time on this. If we would go out to bid, taking into consideration that it would be approved at the board meeting, 3 weeks to advertise, get bids in, open bids, and then another 16 weeks for the truck, or the trailer, I should say, another 16 weeks. That puts them, close to September.
Dealing with the gooseneck through Lansdale, nowhere near that.
Yeah, but then we have to bid it, and it's low bid.
The manufacturing time is nowhere near that.
And you're right. No, I have 24 weeks to bid that trailer. And co-stars, the trucks we can pick up quicker than the co-stars.
Mr. Loeffler, I have another question. If we went with, say, an option 2, where there's only one truck, it would be the new truck, what would happen to the old truck? It would still be used by other people in the district?
Sure, yeah, we would do that.
Yeah. And then if we go with the options that have 2 trucks, where would they be parked? Because now the band truck is out in the parking lot, but it seems like if you had another one, that it might cause a bit of a traffic jam there.
The district already owns a red truck. I don't know the age of it, it's very old. And we now use it for moving technology equipment around, for moving schools out. It's very old, it's beat. It only has a year or 2 life, so it would stay at my place.
Okay, so you would get rid of the old one then, and then put the other one in?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And if you had option 1, then that would be there, also the truck would be there in the trailer?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we'd probably keep the trailer closer to the van too, unless we can't keep it in the parking lot. But if it can't be housed over there, it can be housed in my department.
Yeah, okay.
So I kind of don't know where we're at with this here. I kind of want to go down the list here. I mean, if they wanted the second option and it's twice the price of the first one, then if I remember going all the way back, you guys were talking about kicking in some money for the trailer. I can't remember if that was the case. I sort of remember that. But if we have, what do we do? Can we bid it? If Mr. Perry's correct and our numbers are high, then maybe we're not so far off the 50 from the 72. So maybe we bid the one they want versus the one we want. I don't know. I don't know what to do here. I could ask board members one at a time. I mean, normally, I'm going to be honest about this with you guys out there. I mean, we have to go with what the administration always puts up there, and I usually stick to that. So this has been going on for so long, and there's been some grief. And so we're trying to get over that grief and get you guys what makes sense and not seem like we're against everybody, because we're not. So I don't know how we go about doing that and do it within the administration's guidelines. So I'm a little stuck here. I opened the can of worms, so I apologize. But I would like us to do the right thing. And if we're not off in the dollars, me personally, I don't have a problem with since we had 50, we almost bought the truck the night we didn't. And so, for another $10,000 or $12,000, and maybe it's worth getting the right thing once and for all.
Well,
Casper, I apologize. We sat with Mr. Loeffler and we respect him. The one thing I see with the bread truck pulling trailers, when we get to where we're going, who's unhooking the trailer? Where are we putting that? That's got to go off to the side somewhere now. Then we have to get the stuff off, and then we leave, and we have to hook the trailer back up. So, is a parent going to be able to unhook the trailer? Does a school district employee have to unhook the trailer? It's just there's just that one last logistic that we were wondering. So we just know there's so many rules about trucks, lift gates, trailers, who can touch what.
Okay, thank you. I don't have the answer to that myself. Does anyone know? I mean, who does it now?
Well, we don't have to.
You don't have to do it now.
Yeah, we don't have to.
That's usual cast of characters, though, I'm guessing,
Yes. Nobody has to unhook anything.
not that your characters.
Can I add something there?
Yes, please.
Mr. Perry, I believe the trailer that we went out to bid, the 20-foot was 19,000 and change when the bid came in. The price I got from you on the 30-foot was 23,900, so we're more about $5,000 difference.
Okay. And I apologize, I told you I didn't have the.
Correct.
But that, I think
The
that has
big
options.
difference came in
That
the
has
truck.
options on it, though.
The big difference came in the truck. There's some board members that don't feel safe with the 2,500 pulling the 30-footer, and including, I met with our supervisor of transportation, and he doesn't feel safe with the 25-foot, the 2,500 pulling a 30-foot trailer. We're a little on the edge of the 2,500 pulling the 28-foot trailer. So that's where the price comes in, is a bigger pickup, the 3,500. Dually is where the price increased for pulling the gooseneck. That's where the price increase really came in. And again, relying on supervisor or transportation recommending to go to the 3,500 truck on that. That's where that came from.
Versus the trailer manufacturer that does it
Barry?
full-time.
Go ahead, Mr. Thompson.
There had been some discussion earlier about whether or not the band parents or whatever would be willing to put in some money. I never did hear the resolution of that, whether that was possible or not. Is it possible that if there is some kind of preference there, that the group would be willing to put in some money to help us with the funding of it?
Well, there wasn't really an answer to that, so you didn't miss it. So I don't really know, once again, you're on the spot. I mean, I kind of thought we had talked about that at one of the meetings. I can't really, I think we did, or you guys offered to make the sort of bridge the difference.
Barry, it definitely was a question that was brought up in the past. I know I myself had asked if the PMA, if they were willing or able to help in any way with that. But I don't believe we ever got to a point where anybody gave an answer on that.
Well, I want to go back to what Mr. Loeffler just said. So did you hear that, Dave? Suzette?
Yes, yes, I did, and I saw that difference, that the 3,500 over the 2,500 pickup is obviously going to cost, some additional money.
So that's the one recommendation that I want to stay with, is that truck. And that's where my vote would be for the bigger truck, because I kind of agree with that. I know you think you could pull things, but you never know what's going to end up in there. And because there may be other uses in the district for snow plowing or whatever, I think they would kill that truck, the 25 maybe, because it's faster than the 3,500. So where are we at with this? It seems like, we're trying to come to some kind of compromise. Do we bid all these things and come back again? And that's not really an option. Do we?
Well, I liked your original suggestion, maybe just putting option 2 out to bid to see what the cost discrepancy is between what you've come up with and what Mr. Curry has seen. How long would that take again, Jeff? Do we have to go to get a bid in?
Well, we were trying tonight, I mean, that's a good question too. I didn't know if we were going to have to pick which option tonight. I mean, normally we try, I think, to, listen to the administration's suggestions and recommendations and then, hear their case and do it. And this is sort of one of those things that's been going on for so long, it's kind of taken a little different sentimental turn here. So, if taxpayers don't want to hear about sentimental turns, it costs another 22,000. But
we don't really have that.
But we don't really.
We don't have that
but we
solid
don't know for
information.
sure. So,
And this is like a long-term purchase, this isn't going to be, I'm sorry, what?
This is going to be a long-term purchase.
so I think that if what you're saying is the bid the district's choice and then the one they want, that's something we have to ask Dr. Radigan and Mr. Loeffler if that's okay. If that they want to change their option based on, or their recommendation based on our discussion here, that would be up to them. So
What would be the cost, I mean, the co-stars doesn't cost anything, right, because you just look at the price list, but what would be the cost to bid a truck with the additional cost and then time that it takes for the employee? Not the time to get it, but the, yeah, but there's a cost associated with putting something out to bid, so I'm wondering what that cost is.
well, if we go to coast,
But generally, when we go out to bid with something,
Right, I'm sorry, I don't have that information, and I have to gather that information. I really have no idea off the top of my head. I mean, I can send it to you tomorrow in an email if I go back to invoices and see what, they charged us for an advertisement, because it's based on, how many lines, that would be a short.
I thought it was a couple hundred.
Right.
Mr. Kessler, I think what we have to remember is time is ticking. I mean, we've already wasted some time here. I know I had asked Mr. Loeffler, Mr. Benson, and the PMA to get together and come back with options. These are the three options they came up with. Option 3, as I see it, is a win-win in the sense that not only does it solve a lot of the PMA's issues, but it also is something the district can use in many different ways. If you look at what Mr. Loeffler commented there. Options 1 and 2, the district could use as well, but not in as many capacities as option 3. So if and everyone knows we're in a tight budget situation, so option 3 is the most cost effective. And I do remember the PMA saying, if you want us to put money in, what is it? Well, here are some numbers here, but if you want to bid it to make sure, I would say then go ahead and bid option number 2, let them know what the difference would be, and the board can decide do they want to do that or see if the PMA can help them. Otherwise, I would say go with 3, or else they're not going to have anything ready for the new season.
I'm okay with that. If that's your suggestion, I think that's a good one. Does anybody else have any objections to that?
I just a little clarification on if we put option 2 out for bid, or all 3, I guess, I don't know if we're going to do it, option 2 certainly, but what's the time frame on that? I missed that. Would that allow us to get through the bid process and still have something by the September opening?
We don't know. I don't think we know for sure on that. We know we can get the truck, but we don't know about the trailer.
Right, I would comment to that, we would have a bid option to come back, we should have a bid option to come back at the March, we won't have it for the March facilities meeting. It would be something that we would have something back in time for the March board meeting as far as numbers go, because we have to advertise for 3 weeks and we won't start advertising until next week. It'll overlap into the next finance and facilities meeting. But obviously, it depends on who the low bidder is and with the trailer and what their time to manufacture it will be. So that we won't have until we actually go out and get the bid results. We get all that information from the various vendors.
Right, so that changes us from a step of saying we vote on option 3 on the 23rd to now we're going to have to wait. So that's a chance we take, I guess, if we do it that way.
Well, I guess I would leave that if the PMA if they're really okay with option 3, and they say, okay, we don't want to wait because it might be too long, then maybe that's okay. Then we go with option 3. If they say, well, yeah, but we'd really rather take our chances on availability and bid out option 2, then in my mind, that would be something that is, they understand what the difference between 2 and 3 means to them. And as we said, it's a long-term decision. And in my mind, I would like to have them have the option, if they want to come up with a few bucks, to get something that they really think is going to allow for growth and maybe even easier in and out and all the rest. I feel more comfortable having them have some toward the final say.
how many events need the full amount of space?
We'd probably go to 10 to 12 events a year where we would use we would use the trailer, whatever trucks we have.
The full capacity, if it was 2 or the big one, so
10 to 12 events a year. Probably 25,
when you factor in jazz, drumline, and everything else.
Indoor garden, use it for all that.
I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If
You factor in jazz and drumline, they also use it. So if you add that in, plus the parades, you know, the Memorial Day parade, you're probably looking at that piece of equipment for 25 events to maybe even 30. Plus, it does give you the capability then to allow for other music events in the middle school. I know they have a challenge getting from south to central when they hold their concerts there. They could get their instruments moved easier, probably, because it would be a ground level loading trailer. So it opens up that door to allow a younger age bracket.
Okay, well, we need to get moving off of this topic. So I think where we're leaving this is we're going to get the most expensive and the least expensive options bid, not all three. Now, if it doesn't cost any more to bid the three of them, then maybe you can do that. I don't, okay, is that something, am I allowed to say that? Is that okay with you? Sure. And then as soon as you can come back to Cheddar. Well, that's the question, so. Well, we could, I thought we were gonna do the 3,500 truck with the gooseneck and the first option that the administration recommended. That's what I thought. Mr. Thompson suggested I thought of doing them all, or Mrs. Miller, or someone.
No, I said no.
So then, to me, I would like to say, and I think Dr. Radigan said it first, you know, go with the two bids.
Can I just add to that? I don't think that option one should be considered at this point, because I think the reason we got to where we are right now was when option one was the only option, we determined that size was an issue at that point, capacity. So, you know, if option one is still going to be a question mark, is it large enough to fit the instruments and the golf cart? You know, we're not accomplishing what we really wanted. We knew that a long time ago with option one. I'll ask a question again, which Mr. Thompson asked tonight, and if, you know, we're putting this out to bid, option number two, we're obviously going to be coming back at a future meeting to the PMA. As Mr. Thompson said, I know that in the past it's been, I guess, perceived different ways when the question was put out there, can the PMA help in any way? That your question was, what do you want from us? I know my intention was in asking that question, not to say to you a dollar amount. My question is, can you help? Is the PMA willing and able to help? And if they are, can you bring that information to us saying, this is the capacity that we can help in? Yes or no? It's going to be a yes or no, and if it's a yes, it's with such and such amount, because the question has never been answered. It's kind of been thrown back and forth as far as who's going to put a dollar amount out there. I don't personally want to say I will vote for option two based on if you come up with this dollar amount. My question is, can you help, and if you can, in what way? So I would like that information possibly brought back to a future meeting as well. And if it's a no, it's a no. That's what it is. So that's my request.
Okay. Bill?
Yeah, it seems to me both option one and option three still require us to use our existing van truck. So I don't understand if one, the problem with one is because we still have to use the van truck, that's still going to be the problem with three, right? You said to exclude one because we have to use...
One, I'm saying, was excluded because at prior meetings, we got to a point where we said, this isn't going to work, size-wise.
Okay, well, it sounds like three is the same issue because it's not, we're still having, he's saying we still
We're
have to-
using two vehicles, but that was a question I asked too. Did three allow for increased size, if the van size increases? You're using two vehicles, but you're pulling the trailer that has the golf cart on it. To me, in the past, like I said, where we got to where we are now with 3 different options. Option 1 was what was presented to us previously. And after all the discussion, then suddenly it was determined that option 1 wasn't big enough.
I see the difference, I mean, going off what you're saying, I see the difference as option 1, option 3, you have to use 2 trucks. Option 1 is the same thing, you still have to use 2 trucks, but now you're spending more money on it. And the second truck isn't as useful as option 3. So I think that's the difference between option 1 and 3, as I see it.
Well, it is,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to clarify,
What
because
else?
that said
Yeah.
they threw out option 1 because we had to use 2 trucks. Well, I was just saying that we're still going to use 2 trucks, so.
My understanding is that the reason that we then had to go back and look for other options, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, was because we got to that point where we knew that option 1, we couldn't put, there were questions, I believe, raised as far as putting the golf cart in there and pulling that capacity with that truck. And then if the golf cart was in, then it didn't allow enough room for all of the instruments. Am I correct?
Barry, can I say something?
You know, just hold it for a second. Yes, but we gotta wrap this thing
I
up.
know.
So we're spending a little too much time on it. I know everyone's been waiting a long time with this, so just go
I
ahead.
just
2
wanted
minutes,
to
go
make
ahead.
one quick point
Go
when you're
ahead.
thinking about your options. Just remember, if you use the gooseneck trailer, and I think that's what Mrs. Schmidt was driving at, you only need 1 driver. And I think Mr. Loeffler said that it was about $600 for every time you had a driver go out. Well, if you take 20 events a year, which is a minimum, at $600, you're saving $12,000 a year right there. And within 2 years, you will have made up, by the cost of the driver, the difference between the 2 options that you're considering.
The cost of a driver turns out to be more like $100 because there are 5 or 6 drivers going on each trip. That's how the number 700, 600 or 700 came up.
Okay.
So it's only $100 a trip, so it's a savings, but not as much as you're
Okay, so I mean, okay, that's 2,000, and the other thing is, if we don't carry the instruments on the buses, which the kids are doing now, the flutes and the clarinets and the saxophones and the trumpets all go on the buses. Well, with the 30-foot gooseneck, they would be able to all go fit onto the trailer, so you would be able to eliminate 1 bus as well. So maybe you're only saving $4,000 a year, Dr. Yarnell, but I mean, over the course of 5 years, you've made up the difference.
The life of the trailer, you made up the difference.
Okay, good point.
That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you very much. So I think we got to get this moving. So for me, I'm going to suggest we bid 2 and 3 then, if that's okay with the administration. And then we can, see how it comes back, and then we take it from there. And we'll see how much the numbers are. Can you live with that?
Absolutely.
Everybody?
Works for me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Perry. All right, the next thing, I guess it's going to be Kathy. Are you going to do the 2015 projects? Or is that not too many in there? Jeff, you guys decide.
Okay, currently the 2015 summer projects are out to bid. Those projects this year consist of the Stadium Home and Field project, Phase 2. We have the Central Middle School will be having selected roof areas repaired. The maintenance department has a roof that we are out to bid on. We also have a heating system that is out to bid for the maintenance department. So we're a little late on projects this summer, but we have basically 3 areas: Hellman Field, Central Middle School, and then some work over at our maintenance office. So currently they are out to bid, and those projects, other projects will be coming back in March.
February 26th.
Right, we will have those back for the March Finance Facilities meeting, and then, except for Hellman Field, that's discussion for this evening, but the other projects will be back in time for the March Facilities agenda for discussion, and then approval at the March board meeting.
Thank you. Anybody have any thoughts, questions on those? Outside of Hellman Field, because that's going to have its own little sets.
I do. In terms of the Central Middle School roof, is this a repair or a replacement of part of that roof?
It's actually, is it coating? We're not, there are minimal repairs to be performed before the coating, but it's not a replacement of the roof.
Okay. And do you know, when that building was built, it was a rather plain vanilla building. Do you know what the warranty is on the roof at Central Middle?
The warranty is expired.
Okay, that's not a surprise. I just wanted.
It is, but what we're considering doing there is the coating brings a 10-year warranty with it.
Okay.
So the roof is in relatively good shape. It hasn't been a problem, although it was a lower end roof. The coating will, provide us with a warranty just another 10 years without the cost of the replacement.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a, what's the difference between, there's the committed and then the same thing again? So what, is that for 2015-16? What's the difference?
No, that was just for me for a note. That's just my notes for myself that I had. One committed, I just had them listed, and the other I took them out of the balance. So it's just basically for my own information.
So they're not taken out 2 times?
No, they're not
taken
taken out 2 times.
Okay, all right, that's,
Sorry.
so is it the bottom number is the final number after 2015?
Okay, looking at the projects that we currently have available, after 2015, where it says available cash, it's $2,479,068. So that's what I'm projecting.
Oh, the bottom number is just adding those 3 commitments together and then,
It's subtracting those commitments from available cash, because we have that money committed for those specific areas being transportation. We have $779,000, almost $780,000 committed for buses in the capital project fund. We have $43,572 committed for instructional technology in the capital projects fund, and we have $645,561 in 2016 committed for infrastructure. And just to remind everyone, that is where we are paying for the network switches. We did have a 4-year lease on those. We're in year two of that lease. So we do have 2 more years on that lease, and we have put some of that money aside. And again, we'll want to keep, as we talked about last year, we put $250,000 to keep building on that particular infrastructure, so that the next time we need network infrastructure, we have some money set aside specific for that. It's not commingled with other capital project dollars that we want to use to do roof replacements and those sorts of things.
Okay, anybody else on that? Okay, so we're going to get to the next and last thing on the agenda, I think it is, and that's the bids that we received for Hellman Field. So I'm going to take a stab at this to get started, and then if we have questions, then we'll see. I mean, I did ask for questions through Kathy. We did get a few questions that came in from one board member. I guess it was almost 2 weeks ago, the bids came in. There were 8 general contractors, 6 mechanical contractors, 7 plumbing, and 6 electrical contractors. So it was a pretty big turnout. 24 different contractors bid on the project. Is that right, Mike? So your recommendation here tonight, I'm looking at your letter, is that the letter, that's the recommendation? So, the GC was, low bidder was Bolton Construction, and their base bid was 2.1 million. The mechanicals went to Myco at 170, well, didn't go to it, that's who, as of now, are the low bidders, 173,000. Alberell Electric is at 375,000, and Criswell Plumbing was at 248,000 for a construction total of 2,967,393. So it's pretty quiet on the board right now. So does anybody have any questions about the bids? What makes them up? Mrs. Yardley had mailed in a few questions, but go ahead, Dave, if you're ready.
Yeah, in looking at the way the bid was put out, there's a whole lot of deducts for these things like the weight room and the gate, the fencing entranceway and the rest, which, so they're all included in the base bid.
Can you put a microphone near the phone, please?
How are we going to, some of these things, the way I look at it, are included in the Rams on the Ridge fundraising project. Is that right or wrong?
I think Mr. Thompson's question is, which of the add-ons or the additional charges are part of the Rams on the Ridge campaign?
Yeah, they all have deduct. There's only one ad. So deduct means it's already included in the base bid. And in order to pick it out, you have to deduct it. So my question to you is, if this funding includes all of the things that are listed as deduct, is there any, like I see the deduct on the base bid, all the eliminating the construction of the weight room in its entirety. Well, I'm quite sure that that's one of the items that's being included in the Rams on the Ridge fundraising. And my question would be, are we, the way I understand this, since the Rams on the Ridge is going to take a 10-year period for us to raise the money, we're going to have to fund the thing if we're going to do it, and then kind of pay the district back as the money comes in over the next 10 years. Is that am I off base, or is that our thinking with this the way the Rams on the Ridge and this project financing is going to work?
Well, that's my understanding of it. And, you know, the Rams on the Ridge is, and I think tonight we know how much they've collected, you know, quite a bit of money so far. But I think that, yes, that's correct. But, you know, going back to the main recommendation from the district only reflected one change from the entire bid spec, and that was a metal 30-year roof? Yeah, metal roof to shingle roof, right?
Shingle roof, yes, take away the metal roof.
But other than that, the recommendation is for all the things that you just talked about there.
Okay, so everything else stays in, it's just that the asphalt fiberglass shingles will replace the standing seam metal roof. That's what you just told me, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so again, by leaving these things in, we're saying that this does not preclude this money being raised in the future by the Rams on the Ridge fundraising. This just is the way we're going to handle this. We have to finance it, since obviously this project is going to be built at one time, and then the money that they come in will be used somehow to refund the district in some way.
Yeah.
I think I get it.
Okay.
If that's right, then I don't have any questions.
Okay. Mrs. Yardley had submitted a few questions. And you want me, Christine, do you want to read your own question?